October 21st, 1978, 7:06 in the evening over Bass Strait. A 20-year-old pilot keys his radio and asks Melbourne Flight Service a simple question. Is there any known traffic below 5,000 feet? They check. There isn't. He pauses, then he says there's something large above him. 4 bright lights moving fast, then circling back. Melbourne confirms again. There's no known traffic in his area. The pilot's voice tightens. He says the object has a shiny metal surface and a green light. Then he says 4 words that would define the case. It's not an aircraft. 17 seconds later, the recording captures a metallic scraping sound. Then silence. Frederick Val Titch was never seen again. You're listening to The Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. This episode's narration is AI-generated. The research, writing, and editorial decisions behind every story are made with care for accuracy and respect for those involved. Today, a pilot reports something impossible, and the radio tape is all we have left. Frederick Val Titch was 20 years old in 1978. He was a junior flying instructor with a Class 4 instrument rating and about 150 hours of flight time. He had big plans. He wanted to fly for the airlines. On the evening of October 21st, he filed a flight plan for a solo trip from Mu Rab in Airport on Melbourne's southern fringe to King Island in Bass Strait and back. It was a routine navigation flight. He told friends he was picking up crayfish. He climbed into a hired SESS-NNUH 182, registration VH-DSJ, a familiar high-wing single-engine plane. The weather was calm, clear sky, light winds, a long dusk over the water. He took off just after 6:19 in the evening. By 7 that evening, Val Titch had crossed the coast near Cape Otway and was heading out over Bass Strait toward King Island. Below him, open water, no land lights, just the last glow of dusk on the surface. At 7:06, he radioed Melbourne Flight Service. He asked if there was any known traffic below 5,000 feet in his area. The flight service officer, a man named Steve Robey, checked the radar. He told Val Titch there was no known traffic. Val Titch didn't sound panicked, but there was something in his voice. He said there was an aircraft, a large one, that had just passed about 1,000 feet above him. It had 4 bright lights that looked like landing lights. Robey told him again there was no known traffic. Val Titch said the object was moving fast, then he said it was coming back, orbiting above him. Bass Strait is about 200 miles of water between mainland Australia and Tasmania. It's cold, it's deep, and at night it's dark in a way that makes even experienced pilots uneasy. You're flying over nothing, with nothing to orient yourself except your instruments and the faint line where the sky meets the water. For a pilot with 150 hours, most of it in daylight over land, this was the edge of his comfort zone. At 7:08, Val Titch keyed the mic again. He said the object was orbiting above him. He described it in detail. A shiny metal surface, a green light, not like any aircraft he'd seen. His voice was steady, but the words were careful, like he was trying to describe something that didn't fit any category he knew. Robbie asked what type of aircraft it was. Val Titch paused. Then he said, "It's not an aircraft." Melbourne asked him to confirm. Val Titch said it again. Not an aircraft. He said it was hovering above him now. The thing that shouldn't be there, the thing that wasn't on anyone's radar, was directly over his SESS-NR, and it wasn't moving like a plane. Micro Cliffhanger 1. What Val Titch didn't know yet was that his engine was about to start coughing. At 7:12, Val Titch reported engine trouble. He said the engine was running rough, idling badly, coughing. It's the kind of problem that can mean a dozen things, most of them fixable if you're on the ground. Over open water at dusk, it means you have minutes to troubleshoot before you're swimming. He told Melbourne the object was still above him, still hovering. The flight service officer asked what his intentions were. Val Titch said he was proceeding to King Island. His voice was calm, controlled, but the situation was compressing. And then, mid-sentence, the transmission cut off. The recording captured 17 seconds of an open microphone. There was a sound, metallic, scraping, grinding, something that didn't belong in a cockpit. And then the carrier signal stopped. Silence. Steve Roby waited. He called Val Untitch's call sign again. Nothing. He alerted search and rescue. Within hours, aircraft and ships were sweeping roughly 1,000 square nautical miles of Bass Strait. They found no oil slick, no debris, no life raft, no body. The search went on for days. Val Untitch and his SEs had vanished as cleanly as if they'd never been there. The official investigation was filed by the Department of Transport. The conclusion, cause not determined. But that didn't stop people from trying to explain it. The first theory was spatial disorientation. A young pilot, inexperienced at night over water, mistakes reflections of stars or his own lights on the surface for another aircraft. He becomes disoriented, inverts, loses control. The engine trouble he reported could be fuel starvation in an unusual attitude. The plane goes into the sea and the current takes it. Bodies aren't always recovered in Bass Strait. It's a tidy explanation. It accounts for almost everything, except the calm, precise descriptions Val Untitch gave and the metallic sound at the end. The second theory is fuel mismanagement or simple loss of control. The engine really was running rough. Something failed. He went down. The radio call about the object was confusion, panic, maybe hallucination. Melbourne confirmed there was no known traffic, so there was nothing there, just a young pilot alone at dusk, trying to make sense of something his instruments couldn't explain. And then there's the theory Val Untitch's father held onto for the rest of his life. That his son encountered something extraordinary, something not on any flight plan. The transcript is real. The absence of known traffic is confirmed. The descriptions don't match any conventional aircraft. And the final sound, no one has ever been able to explain what made it. Both explanations fit some of the evidence, neither fits all of it. 5 years later, in 1983, a piece of engine cowling washed up on Flinders Island, part of the island chain in Bass Strait. Investigators examined it. They checked the part number against SESS-NUH records. The fragment could have come from an aircraft in the same serial batch as VH-DSJ. But they could never prove it was Val Untitch's plane. It remains the only physical fragment ever even tentatively connected to the case, and even that one piece, the only solid thing in 45 years, still can't close the file. Disappearances leave us guessing. This one left us a tape, and the tape only deepens the question. We have Frederick Val Untitch's voice, calm and deliberate, describing something he couldn't identify. We have Melbourne's confirmation that there was no known traffic. We have the metallic sound. We have 1,000 square miles of searched water and nothing found. And we have a father who spent the rest of his life convinced his son met something extraordinary. The honest answer is the one the Department of Transport gave in 1978. Cause not determined. The transcript is real. The disappearance is real. Everything in between is interpretation. And sometimes the most responsible thing you can say is that you don't know. Frederick Val Untitch was 20 years old. He wanted to fly for the airlines. On the evening of October 21st, 1978, he flew out over Bass Strait and never came back. The last thing anyone heard was a metallic scraping sound, and then silence. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit Room wherever you listen. Tell a friend who can't sleep. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit Room. See you in the dark.